The Arbiter is one of the most iconic figures in the Halo universe, a warrior called upon in times of great peril or instability within the Covenant throughout its history. These champions all accepted the responsibility of becoming the Arbiter, knowing that each Arbiter before them has died in the line of duty, though none have accomplished such extraordinary feats as Thel Vadam, the elite who became the Arbiter at the beginning of Halo 2 and remains so throughout the Halo series. From humble beginnings to military campaigns, alliances are forged and broken in times of great peril and intergalactic war. This is the story of the Arbiter Thel Vadam. Thel was born into the family of Vadam, monarchs of the Vadam state on their homeworld Sanghelios. Though the human race named these lifeforms elites, they are referred to within the Covenant as Sangheli, after their home planet. From a young age, Thel was trained in hand-to-hand combat and military tactics, and soon enlisted in the Covenant military, a great honor which earned him the double E suffix at the end of his name, now Thel Vadami. Within the Covenant, he was deployed on numerous missions and excursions into human territory, with the first confirmed human contact occurring in the year 2535 in the Outer Human Colonies. At this point, Vadami was only a low-ranking soldier within a battalion under the command of the Prophet of Regret. Not long after this encounter, the Human Office for Naval Intelligence identified a newly formed Covenant fleet named Particular Justice, of which Vadami himself was the supreme commander. This fleet quickly multiplied in size from 5 to nearly 60 ships during Vadami's aggressive campaign through the human colonies. All efforts to track or otherwise predict the movement of Particular Justice were thwarted by Vadami's unconventional and unpredictable attack patterns, resulting in the destruction of many human worlds. Vadami also gained notoriety due to the frequency he participated in Covenant ground assaults, which set him apart from other commanders within the Covenant. This is especially noteworthy during his assault on the human military-industrial planet Canberra, where his strategic fleet movement allowed him to lead Covenant forces on the ground before most of the planet even realized they were in danger. In a video recording within the UNSC 3rd Battalion's armory, Vadami is seen confronting Marines before they even had time to equip their gear. However, as a shock to the human military, Vadami insisted on allowing the soldiers to finish gearing up and arm themselves before engaging them in combat, a reminder of how greatly the Sanghelis valued honor. Vadami then initiated one of the most decisive battles during the Human Covenant War when he led his fleet on the attack on planet Reach, one of humankind's greatest military strongholds and the home of the UNSC Spartan program. Humankind exhausted all possible military resources in the defense of Reach, and were never able to determine exactly how Vadami had learned the location of the planet. But despite their best efforts, Reach would eventually fall. Only one human-controlled ship managed to escape the massacre that took place around Reach, the Pillar of Autumn. Thel Vadami ordered all of the ships in his command to pursue the fleeing vehicle, and followed them to the installation 04, the first Halo discovered by humanity and the Covenant. The Covenant's religious leaders, the Prophets, believe the Halo rings to be the most holy of artifacts left behind for them by the Forerunners they worship. Most events during Halo 1's campaign take place on the surface of this ring, which is destroyed by the Master Chief during the final mission of the game. At this point, Thel Vadami is forced to return with the remainder of his fleet and explain to the Prophets why he allowed such a sacred structure to be destroyed under his watch.
I will continue my campaign against the humans.
No, you will not.
He is labeled a heretic due to his failure to protect the ring and led from the room by armed guards. Later, he is dragged in front of a large crowd and branded with a hot iron so that all may know of the dishonor that his heresy has brought upon the Covenant. However, his true punishment is still being decided by the Prophets and the High Council. Vadami is summoned to the Mausoleum of the Arbiter, a memorial to past Arbiters of the Covenant to hear the Prophet's decision on his sentencing, which is presumed to be death as ordered by the High Council.
I decided to have you hung by your entrails and your corpse paraded through the city. But ultimately, the terms of your execution are up to me. Do you know where we are?
The Mausoleum of the Arbiter.
Quite so. Halo's destruction was your error, and you rightly bear the blame. But the Council was overzealous. We know you are no heretic.
However, the Prophets decide to instead meet them halfway by offering Thel Vadami the responsibility of becoming the new Arbiter. Vadami understands that he will almost certainly perish while performing the duties of this new role, but accepts the offer as a way to atone for his sins and regain some of the honor he lost from his previous failure.
What would you have your Arbiter do?
This is the true face of heresy, one who would subvert our faith and incite rebellion against the High Council.
Our prophets are false. Open your eyes, my brothers.
Vadam's first mission as the Arbiter is to seek out and assassinate an elite who defected from the Covenant and has been speaking out against the prophets and their religion. Throughout this mission, the Heretic leader continually attempts to inform Vadam of what he has learned, that the Covenant is based on a lie by the prophets. To support his claims, he reveals that he has been communicating with 343 Guilty Spark, an artificial intelligence created by the Foreigners whom the prophets worship, and referred to as an oracle due to its religious significance.
The monitor of Installation 04.
Ask the Oracle about Halo. How they would sacrifice us all.
Yet the Arbiter remains resolute in his mission and carries out the order of the prophets to kill the Heretic leader before rendezvousing with Tartarus.
Fortunate. His edification was most enjoyable.
I had no choice, Holy Oracle.
Oracle, great journey. Why do you meddlers insist on using such inaccurate verbiage?
That is the Oracle. So it is.
Vadam is gobsmacked by the disregard with which Tartarus, chieftain of the Brutes, treats one of the Covenant's most holy artifacts. This disconnect between the Sangheli and the Brutes continues to grow before reaching a tipping point when the prophets decide that the Brutes will replace the elites as the Covenant's honor guard, an unprecedented shift of power within the Covenant. While the changing of the honor guard takes place, the prophets inform Vadam that the recovered oracle has divulged the location of what is referred to as the Sacred Icon, an item that can be used to activate the Halo Array. The Arbiter is immediately sent to a flood quarantine zone to retrieve this icon and is flown there in a Phantom under the command of Tartarus. It is during this flight that he learns the recently deceased prophet, Regret, was in fact killed by the same person who destroyed the first Halo, the Master Chief, or as the Covenant call him, the Demon.
Why? Looking for a little payback? Retrieving the icon is my only concern.
During this mission, Vadam unintentionally runs into Commander Artas, the elite who led the Arbiter's first mission to assassinate the Heretic leader. Once Artas is informed of the Arbiter's assignment, he immediately rallies the troops within his command to aid Vadam in recovering the icon.
We shall cut into the heart of this infestation, retrieve the icon, and burn any flood that stand in our way.
It's interesting to note how quickly Artas joins the Arbiter's cause, having just now heard of this icon for the first time and is now ready to die in battle to retrieve it. It speaks to the Sanghelios' extraordinarily trusting nature, a trust which they will soon discover was taken advantage of by the prophets.
More humans.
During their trek towards the icon's location, they continually come across UNSC forces. Just before Vadam and Artas activate the gondola leading to the icon, Sergeant Johnson and Miranda Keyes activate the one just beside them, hoping to get there first.
Gotcha.
You hear me, Marines? We got trouble.
Right after Miranda retrieves the icon, Vadam strikes from the shadows, using his cloaking armor to gain the element of surprise. However, immediately after dispatching the two humans, something happens that will forever change Vadam's view of the Prophets, the Great Journey, and even the Covenant.
Excellent work, Arbiter. The Hierarchs will be pleased. The icon is my responsibility. Was your responsibility. Now it is mine. A bloody fate awaits you and the rest of your incompetent race. And I, Tartarus, chieftain of the Brutes, will send you to it. And the prophets learn of this, that they will take your head when they learn. Fool. They ordered me to do it.
After being thrown down a pit, the Arbiter finds himself in the grasp of the Gravemind, an organic manifestation of the Flood's central intelligence.
I'd rather not piss this thing off.
Demon. This one's containment. And this one's great journey are the same. Your prophets.
The Gravemind explains that the Prophet's great journey that has been promised to the Covenant as a form of religious Valhalla is in fact the firing of the Halo Array, which will wipe out every sentient being in the galaxy.
This thing is right. Halo is a weapon. Your prophets are making a big mistake.
The Gravemind knows that if the Covenant has the icon and intends to activate Halo, all life will be immediately exterminated across the galaxy, leaving the Flood to starve to death with no hosts to infect.
I will show it to you.
So at this point, during the Arbiter's first mission to kill the Heretic leader, he was warned that the prophets were a farce, and these claims were substantiated by the Oracle 343 Guilty Spark. This information combined with Vadam's hatred for the brutes, between their total disregard for his religion, replacing the elite honor guard, and throwing him to his death, in addition to the knowledge shared with him by the Gravemind, causes Vadam to finally fight back against the brutes and other allied Covenant forces in an attempt to prevent the firing of the Halo Ray. During his crusade towards the activation room, he comes across a Covenant Wraith tank, piloted by none other than Commander Artas, who again joins forces with the Arbiter so that he may make it to the control room in time to prevent the sacred icon from being used. Along the way, he discovers a scarab, which upon his approach springs to life and is being piloted by Sergeant Johnson of the UNSC, who offers to help Vadam in his quest by blasting open the doors to the control room.
Listen, you don't like me and I sure as hell don't like you. But if we don't do something, Mr. Mohawk's gonna activate this ring, and we're all gonna die.
After blasting the door open, Vadam quickly makes his way to the activation room where he finds Tartarus forcing Miranda to activate the Halo Ray, as human beings are the only species who are able to do so.
This reclaimer is delicate.
One more word, Oracle, and I'll rip your eye from its socket. Which is nothing compared to what I'll do to you.
Tartarus, stop.
Impossible.
Put down the icon.
Put it down and disobey the Hierarchs?
There are things about Halo even the Hierarchs do not understand.
Collectively, the seven.
Not another word.
Please. Don't shake the light bulb.
Tartarus, the prophets have betrayed us.
Tartarus, unconvinced by Vadam's words, decides to continue with the activation sequence so that he may carry out the Prophet's orders.
Journey has begun.
Luckily, Vadam, along with Johnson, Miranda Keyes, and Artas's elites, are able to subdue Tartarus just in time to prevent the Halo Ring from firing. However, the interrupted activation sequence shifted all of the Halo Rings to standby mode, meaning they could all be remotely activated from Installation 00.
What's that?
A beacon
What's it doing?
communicating at superluminal speeds with the frequency of
Communicating with what?
the other installations.
Show me.
Fail-safe protocol. In the event of unexpected shutdown, the entire system will move to standby status. All remaining platforms are now ready for remote activation.
Where would someone go to activate the other rings?
Why the Ark? Of course.
And where, Oracle, is that?
These last words show that the Arbiter is willing to continue working with the humans to prevent the firing of the Halo Rays, and has completely abandoned his fealty to the Prophets and the Covenant under their command. To signify his defection from their military, he removes the double E from the end of his name, becoming once again Thel Vadam for the first time since before joining the military, though the UNSC typically only refer to him as the Arbiter. After escaping the flood-infested ring and accompanying Sergeant Johnson and his platoon back to Earth, Johnson leads Vadam and his Marines through a jungle to rendezvous with the Master Chief as he free-falls from the atmosphere. By locking his armor, the Chief survives while only being temporarily knocked unconscious. However, when he wakes up, he'll meet someone he hasn't seen since being captured by the Gravemind.
Chief, wait! The Arbiter's with us! Come on now. We've got enough to worry about without you two trying to kill each other.
Were it so easy. We must go. The brutes have...
After leading the group to the extraction point, they are taken to a secret UNSC facility named Crow's Nest, built inside of a natural cave beneath the ground. While communicating with Fleet Admiral Lord Hood, the power is shut off and the transmission is hijacked by the Prophet of Truth, who angrily declares that there is no hope left for humanity and that soon Earth will be destroyed by the Covenant.
In the dirt, thinking, what, I wonder, that you might escape the coming fire? No, your world will burn until its surface is but glass.
While the Prophet's ships continue to fire upon Earth's surface, Chief and the Arbiter race to the Ark in an effort to beat him there and prevent him from activating the Halo Ray. Just as Truth forces Sergeant Johnson to activate the array, the Chief and the Arbiter are greeted by the Flood they were fighting moments earlier, and for the second time are offered a temporary alliance to prevent the firing of the ring. Fortunately for them, they make it to the activation room before the initialization sequence is completed. The Arbiter then confronts the Prophet of Truth, meeting him for the first time since learning that he had ordered Tartarus to assassinate him.
I am true.
Covenant!
So, you must be silenced.
Justice is served, and any doubts the chief had about Vadam's true motivations are put to rest after seeing him kill one of the leaders he used to follow. The energy sword used by the Arbiter becomes known as the Prophet's Bane due to Truth's murder, and is found in the multiplayer of Halo 5. With Truth dead and the rings deactivated, the Flood resumed their attack on the human Covenant forces. During their escape from the activation room, the Chief and Arbiter discover that a new ring has been constructed to replace the one that was destroyed at the end of Halo 1, and it is currently at the Ark with them outside of the galaxy which is home to Earth and all of the inhabited colonies. They decide to take advantage of this situation by activating this new installation ring, decimating any Flood within its reach and destroying the Ark so that the other rings may not be remotely activated in the future.
I will personally oversee the final preparations, though it will take time to fabricate.
The Arbiter, accompanied by Sergeant Johnson and the Master Chief, make their way to the control room of the newly constructed ring in order to activate it, guided by the monitor 343 Guilty Spark. However, 343 must follow the strict protocol he was programmed to, and thus cannot allow the activation of a ring before it is finished being constructed in a few days' time.
A few more days.
We don't have a few more days.
But a premature firing will destroy the Ark.
Deal with it.
Will destroy this installation. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Protocol dictates action. I see now that helping you was wrong.
After activating the ring, the Arbiter and the Master Chief rush to the UNSC Infinity that is nearby to evacuate the system before the ring fires. They reach the ship just as the Halo activates, and the Chief remains in the cargo bay while Thel Vadam heads to the bridge to man the controls. He activates a slipspace portal allowing them to jump through space and appear back at Earth. However, when the ship is only halfway through the portal, the explosive force of the unfinished activated ring shakes itself to pieces and closes the portal while only the front half of the ship had permeated. This leaves the Chief behind in the cargo bay while the Arbiter arrives back at Earth. The Master Chief is presumed dead due to the firing of the Halo ring in such close proximity, and a funeral is held in his honor, as well as the fallen heroes Sergeant Johnson and Miranda Keyes, during which the Arbiter exchanges a few words with Lord Hood.
I remember how this war started, what your kind did to mine. I can't forgive you, but you have my thanks for standing by him to the end. Hard to believe he's dead.
Were it so easy.
At this time, Thel Vadam returns to his capital ship where Artas is waiting, and returns back to his homeworld Sanghelios, where he stays while the events of Halo 4 occur. Some time passes and eventually the Arbiter meets with Spartan Locke, who informs him that he is on an important mission to hunt a Spartan. The Arbiter is not aware of who specifically he is hunting until meeting with him in person.
I'm not so much hunting a Spartan, as I'm hunting the Spartan.
You seek
117.
I was not told the identity of your prey. He was indeed my enemy. But in time, I named him ally, even friend. The events which forged this bond are complicated.
Exactly what role the Arbiter will play in aiding Locke's mission to find the Chief is unknown. Will he remain loyal to the Chief and protect him the way he did during the events of Halo 3? Or will he simply watch over his own interests and the interests of his Sangheli brothers, who are not too fond of the human race? These questions and more may be answered in Halo 5, but for now we can only speculate. Thanks for watching our story of the Arbiter Thel Vadam, and be sure to tune into Raid Leader TV for more Halo specials.